Funding and support for this project has been provided by the State of Washington Department of Labor and Industries Safety and Health Investment Projects.
On behalf of the Washington Wine Industry Foundation and Labor and Industries, we would like to welcome you to Safety for Small and Medium-Sized Wineries, a Labor and Industries SHIP grant project. It is our goal to introduce you to some of the regulatory requirements to keep you and your employees safe within your winery. We hope you enjoy. Welcome to our video on compressed gases. We want you to get the most out of these training videos. Just sit back and listen to the presentation, as all of this information is available to you at winerywise.org under Winery Safety. During this presentation, we hope you learn how to properly handle, use, store, and safely transport compressed gases within your winery.
Labor and Industries provides standards on compressed gases. These standards can be found on the Labor and Industries website, which is located at www.lni.wa.gov, or through a quick internet search for Washington State Labor and Industries.
Typically, a variety of compressed gases are used within wineries. Wineries that use compressed gases must have a written compressed gas program and provide documented training. This can be a section or chapter within their written accident prevention plan.
When gas cylinders are received from your supplier, they should be properly labeled with protective devices in place and easy to use. If the cylinder is difficult to open, if it appears to be damaged, or it just doesn't seem right, return it to the vendor. Do not ever attempt to modify, repair, or use a defective cylinder. If a cylinder ever develops a leak that cannot be quickly fixed by simply tightening the valve, immediately remove the cylinder to the outside and keep employees or guests away. Call for help immediately, and this help could be either your gas supplier or 911.
Empty cylinders to be returned to the supplier shall be marked as empty, the valve closed, and the protective cap placed on. Store these in a location separate from full cylinders.
When storing cylinders, do not store them in areas of extreme temperatures. Mark the area prominently. Separate incompatible gases. Store in a dry, well-ventilated area. If the ground is wet or damp, be sure to store them up off the ground to prevent rusting. Also, store them away from corrosives, fumes, and salts. Protect cylinders from damage, such as falling objects from above or from the side. And be sure to protect your cylinders against tampering from unauthorized employees.
When using gas cylinders, never tamper with or attempt to repair or alter cylinders, valves, or safety relief valves. Use cylinders only for their intended use. Keep valves closed at all times except for when in use. If the cylinder becomes difficult to open or closed, meaning that it cannot be done by hand, contact the supplier. Verify the contents of the cylinder prior to use. Never force connections. Keep the cylinder secure. If you have questions about handling the gas cylinder, get help. Contact the cylinder manufacturer or the gas supplier. And remember, no smoking around gas cylinders.
And some gases have specific hazards. For example, they may be flammable. Examples of these gases would be acetylene, butane, or propane. Be sure to store flammable gases away from solvents or other sources of ignition, and away from other compressed gas cylinders that are considered oxidizers. Gases may be poisonous. An example is sulfur dioxide. Gas masks or respirators specific for the hazard must be readily available for immediate use. And keep in mind that there are additional requirements for the use of respirators. Poisonous gases must be used in areas of forced ventilation or outside. And don't forget pressurized liquids. Examples would be nitrogen or argon. These must always be kept in the upright position, and note that the cylinder will vent periodically to maintain its proper internal pressure.
When moving or transporting cylinders, the storage caps must be in place. Do not drag, slide, or roll gas cylinders. Use a suitable hand truck or forklift. If you use a cage on your forklift, make sure the cylinders are secured within the cage. And during handling, do not ever drop or allow the cylinders to strike each other. No rough handling, knocks, or drops that could damage the cylinder or other safety devices that could result in a leak.
Some best management practices for compressed gases include: if you use carbon dioxide to produce dry ice, ensure proper personal protective equipment is utilized. At a minimum, this should include cryogenic gloves and ANSI-approved safety glasses.
When using Tygon tubing as a hose on the end of a gas cylinder, prior to turning on and off the gas, make sure the Tygon tube is drained of any contents and is properly secured. Develop a job hazard assessment for the use of Tygon tubing on a gas cylinder and train all employees. When using a Bulldog during barrel work, read all the manufacturer safety precautions and follow them. Inspect the barrel for damage that may result in the barrel exploding when pressurized. Significant aging, cracks, or weaknesses. Monitor the process at all times to prevent overpressurization. Develop a job hazard assessment and train all employees on the proper use of a Bulldog.
Be sure to use 2 chains or straps to secure the cylinders to a wall when in storage. If you have a special wrench that is required to activate flow, that wrench must be kept with the cylinder so it can be quickly turned off in the event of an emergency. And if there is an emergency with a gas cylinder or the contents of the cylinder, and a call to 911 is warranted, be sure to notify the 911 operator of the nature of the emergency. They may need to send a special hazardous materials team to respond. We hope you've increased your safety knowledge from this video and that you'll take this information back to your winery to help make it the safest place that it can possibly be. While every effort was made to ensure the accuracy of the information presented here, it is nonetheless the responsibility of each winery owner to ensure that their safety protocols and safety training are consistent with their own winery operations. Thank you for your time.